Hi guys, Moise here, and today I would like to answer this question. Should you still learn Linux in 2026 or is it gonna be a waste of time? I'm a professional network engineer and I have some work experience in web development and applied AI, ML, and computer vision, and I have an MSc in computer science. So that's the experience that I'm bringing to the table, and I would like to answer that question and hopefully help you to make a better decision. Uh, if you are still a student or if you are an experienced user, or maybe you are starting your career and you just need a little bit more knowledge around this topic. So stay tuned to answer this question. As you can see, I'm sharing my screen, and to keep my thought process clean, I have few key points written here in different files, and I would follow them to explain my point of view on this question. So let's get started. The first point, Linux is already everywhere. So other than, as you know, other than uh, desktop users, Linux is dominating every other space, from servers, from IoT, from embedded devices, from mobile devices, from uh, different kind of automation, self-driving, that sort of stuff. Linux is used under the hood. Also, Linux is used in cloud and by major cloud providers, AWS, Azure, and Google. So even if you are using internet, streaming video, or accessing cloud services, you are using Linux under the hood. Okay, let's do. So the second one is that Linux is the foundation of cloud and DevOps. When you look at Docker, Kubernetes, CI/CD tools, microservices, everything, they are Linux native. It means that it's Linux machines running to the scale and providing those kind of services. So if you are considering working in DevOps, network engineer, uh, in any kind of position that is related to cloud, you should consider mastering Linux. That's the key. Let's look at the third point. Linux is not just for servers. Yes, uh, Linux is not just for the servers. It's dominating the servers, yes, of course, but also it has many other use cases. When you look at the uh, mobile devices, it's a light version of Linux built for mobile devices, Android. When you look at all the small boards that are used for self-driving cars, for an infrastructure like smart cities, like Raspberry Pi, there is also a light version of Linux, Raspbian, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is used for those devices. So it has a huge use case. Let's look at the fourth point here, which is Linux and networking go hand in hand. That's a very important point, and I know lots of people that don't get it right at the beginning, including myself, that all the IP networking devices, routers, firewalls, any device that you see out there, under the hood, they are using Linux. And all of those sophisticated networking tools, devices, protocols are built on top of that. That's the key point. So under the hood, it's Linux that is used. Let's look at the fifth point. Linux skills age extremely well. What do I mean by that? Is that Linux by itself is the art of learning how to talk to hardware through software. You learn this kind of skills, which is gonna stick with you almost in any tech position that you seek or you go or you work, anything that you work with, because you are learning the fundamentals, the basics, and it's gonna be there forever. Every sophisticated technology that you hear or anything that uh, any buzzword that you see is coming there at the end of the day is built on top of these fundamentals. So if you want to learn those technologies, the key point is to learn Linux because it gives you a very good understanding on how the hardware works, how different components of the systems work together to build a complete system for the end user, and that's very important. Next point is that Linux makes you a better problem solver. That's very important as well. Uh, you cannot learn Linux unless you know the concept, principles, and you follow the same thought process as the people that engineered that. You are forced to follow that. Okay, and it gives you a very good understanding of how everything built, how every concept is used for different part of the system, and how the problems are solved. You understand what is the problem and what was the solution that was brought to the table by the developers to address that uh, problem or issue. And when you know that, you start to build a thought process which is going to help you along the way. And the last point, which is a very controversial one, is what about AI and automation? Well, yes, these days we hear a lot about this one, and there are tons of people out there that believe that AI is going to replace everything. Uh, and that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, one thing that you need to remember is that even AI needs to be built on an infrastructure, which is going to be huge. Okay. And at the end of the day, it's going to be running on hardware operating system, which most likely is going to be Linux. And even as I said, Linux is a concept of how operating system works. So we get back to the same concept that Linux skills age extremely well and it's gonna stick with you. So there is gonna be a huge infrastructural build out, and the people with these skills are gonna be in huge need. And uh, at the end of the day, Linux is going to be used for this infrastructure, and I believe it's going to just make us more productive in that regard. It's not going to replace. So we should be able to do more with less, which means that we can be more productive. We can uh, develop more interesting things, build more interesting ideas on top of that. And even one more important point is that even think about it. Think about the internet. Still, there are some parts of the world that are underdeveloped after those many years. So yes, 2 or 3 countries are gonna go way ahead and they're gonna, for example, get there very soon. But there is gonna be a huge opportunity for the build out, for expanding this technology, which at the end of the day is gonna be running on the infrastructure, which is gonna use Linux. So that's a very key important point to remember when you want to answer this question. Uh, so that's it. If you have any question, please comment. And if there is any other topic that you would like me to talk about, also comment. And thanks for your time. Take care.